Welcome into the Real Healing Institute. My name is Michelle Sinclair. I am a divine healer and spiritual teacher, and all of my teachings are based off of the Christ letters and the enlightenment that I gained from studying them several years ago. So if you guys have not read the Christ letters or listened to it, I would highly recommend it. It's amazing. You can do it all for free online. So today we're going to start here in the Christ letters. I'm just going to read you one sentence from it, page 119. We are truly one. When I make you suffer, I too am lessened in divine life, and my own suffering will follow. So what we do to other people surely will be returned back to us. So take heart. If someone wants to sit out there and bash you and make all kinds of lies up about you, let them. It doesn't matter, because eventually the truth will come out, and the karma from that person doing what they did to you will be returned back to them. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to do anything other than leave it in the hands of the divine. If someone wishes to harm you, if they want to put some type of spell or voodoo or some kind of horrible thing on you or some curse on you, take heart and know that as they do that, not only are you divinely protected, if you believe yourself to be. If you are not, then you have exposed yourself to the harm that would come from those people. But whatever is sent out and meant to harm you will be returned back to that person or those people or a group of people 90-fold. And you can sit back and you could just wait for it to happen, but here's the thing. You won't want that to happen. I see the things that have been done to me previously, in previous years, and I actually had a wave of such compassion for one of these people who harmed me so grievously that I thought, I honestly don't know if they could handle what they did to me being done back to them. And I thought, whew, they might not make it. And I had this moment of almost panic for this person, of thinking, oh, I don't want this horrible thing to happen to them. I don't want this bad stuff to come back on them. And then I realized, these things have to happen. What karma does, also known as electromagnetism, also known as cause and effect, Jesus called it reaping and sowing, what it does is it brings order into chaos. This means that you can't go around hurting people all willy-nilly and have something not come back to you. No, indeed, it will come back to you. And so whoever has been the harm sender, things will be returned back to them. But this is why this is not a negative thing. And that you don't need to feel sorry for them, because that dips and lowers down your frequency, and you don't need to do that. You can just trust and know that everything is working out according to the divine plan, and that all is working towards the goodness and the evolution of humanity. And in order for us to evolve as a collective, the individuals within it are the ones who need to evolve. And then at some point, the 100th monkey effect takes place and the shift happens. So you've maybe even noticed the shift that is already occurring, of people just being more open-minded than they used to be. People accepting things, spiritual things that used to be considered this woo-woo stuff. There's some people out there that still think, oh, this is, weird stuff. But there's many people who are open to it who would not have been open to it 5 years ago. This is because of the collective consciousness shift. This is the evolution that you're witnessing. That's what we're seeing. And so suffering that someone, puts on somebody else is going to come back to them. And here's why this is good, because it is the suffering that makes you have to heal. Right? There's only two choices: kill yourself, end it, or heal it. And if someone wants to evolve, because dude, you just got to keep coming back and learning the lessons and doing it over and over and over again. Do you want to come back and do this all over and over and over again? If you end it right now, you're going to end up at the exact same spot that you were when you left. You still have to learn the same lessons. So because suffering forces us to have to heal, it forces us to have to evolve. Because when you have to heal something that is so incredibly painful, so incredibly damaging within you, it takes a lot of grit, it takes a lot of determination, and it takes spirit and connection with the divine, because the divine can heal all things. It takes that connection, which you may view that as, oh, I just needed a different perspective. Well, that perspective came from the divine love. So every good and wonderful thing comes from the divine love. So even though it's really just a perspective change, you've probably noticed in your life that when you've had a perspective change about something, it actually changed your whole world. As soon as you start viewing something in a different light, it changes your whole world. Now, I know we've said this story before, but if somebody's tuning in here for the first time, I'm going to tell you the lice story. So this is a beautiful story, and it is totally true. It was about the Holocaust. And there's these women living in a cabin, prisoners, and they sleep on hay every night, right? You've probably heard the stories. They cram them all into these beds, and they're sleeping on these hay beds. And so every night they would hold a Bible study, because they managed to sneak a Bible into their cabin. And they also managed to sneak in a bottle of vitamins. So every night, as they're quietly having their Bible study, they pass around these vitamins, and every time that they tip over the bottle, there's another vitamin. And this goes on and on and on and on. And they think, this is so strange. How is there still vitamins in here? But there was. Every time that they would tip the bottle, oh, there's another vitamin. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. So anyways, one of these nights when they're having Bible study, they're praying at the end of it, and one of the women's like, well, thanks for the vitamins, thanks for the Bible, and thanks for, whatever, and thank you for the lice. Because there was lice that were living in their cabin. And so some of these women lost their minds on this lady. Like, what are you talking about? Thank you for the lice. What a horrible thing. We're suffering. We're itchy. This is a nightmare that we're having to deal with. And they were pissed that this lady said thank you for them. And so this lady goes, okay, well, you know what? The Bible says to be thankful for everything, so I'm going to be thankful for everything. Anyways, the war goes on and eventually comes to an end, and they're released, and they're set free at the end of this war. And so one of them goes up to one of the guards that would guard them when they were there, and she said, we had, vitamins, and we had a Bible, and you guys never came, and you never took our stuff. You never raided our cabin. Why did you not come in? And she said, well, no one was going to go in there. Yours was the only one that was infested with lice. And so when you realize that every single thing is working for you, and if you recognize it early on, you can save yourself all kinds of suffering and torture. So the ones who were in that cabin believing these lice are such a horrible and terrible thing, well, what would have happened had they not been in there? First of all, they would have got their cabin raided. They wouldn't have had any vitamins. They wouldn't have had the Bible that they so dearly cherished, especially when you're not allowed to have anything and you're in there for as long as they were in there for. That brought them comfort every single night. Yes, they had to deal with these lice, but at the same time, they were also able to be blessed in this beautiful way that they could not have been blessed with had the lice not been present. And so what is the lice in your life? What is the area of your life that you were looking at and that you were like, oh man, I just don't like this thing? What is it that you are blaming and saying, this is not a good thing? What a terrible thing that this is. What area of your life is that? What is that thing that you are saying is not a good thing? All that needs to happen is for a perspective shift to happen and think, you know what? I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but thank you for this, divine. Thank you for this blessed gift, and thank you that at some point you're going to make it very clear to me why this thing is happening this way, or has had to happen this way, or whatever it happens to be. Thank you for that. Now I want you to notice the difference between that. When I'm a victim to something and thinking, oh, what a terrible thing, and how is this happening, and I'm getting frustrated or worked up or sad or this or that. Just notice how that feels versus, I don't know why this is happening, but thank you, because I know that everything is working out for my highest and best good. It's completely different. And what happens in these moments is we have a choice to master ourselves, to master our life, and to master our personality, our ego that is normally running the show. And instead of viewing something as bad or terrible or critical or something that you want to complain about or judge or this or that, when you can say, thank you for presenting me with this person who's very frustrated and pissed off at me today, because they're showing me something about myself that I wasn't aware of before. They're showing me that I really need to master myself so that I can have a calm conversation with somebody and not lose it on them. This is just one example. Thank you that job that I wanted so badly didn't pan out. I don't know why, but I absolutely believe and know it's because it wasn't meant for me, and it's because something even greater alignment is going to come into my life. And so thank you for not having me attach my energetic cords to this particular thing, because then I wouldn't have the space or the energy to attach to the real thing when the real thing comes into my life. Thank you for preparing me and for removing me from situations before I even had to remove myself, because you saw what was going on in those situations before I did. Thank you, Divine. And when we can shift ourselves from being a victim of our life, and we can recognize that we are not only not a victim, but we are the creator of it, then it completely changes our frequency and the vibration that we're emitting, and creates more wonderful goodness to come in our life. And so rather attaching ourselves to those chaotic energies that we maybe would have before, of feeling like a victim or things just don't go right or whatever it happens to be, attaching yourself to the chaos, you now have attached yourself to the truth, to the divine truth. And by attaching yourself to that truth, it will uplift you. It is through the greatest suffering that the greatest growth can come. Like they say, I don't know who wrote this quote, but it's something about he whose branches, touch heaven, well, his roots have had to go down to hell. Basically saying, the roots got to go down first. You got to go through the hell so that you can expand up into the heavens. And so that takes, at some point, right, a lot of pressure. If those roots are pushing and growing down through the ground, well, that's a lot of pressure all around you. That's maybe a lot of uncomfortable feelings that you got to get through for those roots to grow down. But what leads to, what comes after that is exponential growth. They say, what is it, bamboo, that something the first however many years, you don't see any growth. It's just taking root, and you'll see nothing. It's like it's not even growing. And then in whatever year, I can't remember how many it was, I should look these facts up because it's pretty interesting. And then when it starts to grow, it grows like a foot a day, something crazy like that all of a sudden. And so sometimes we got to be rooted down, and we might have to go through years of not great stuff until a moment of illumination comes and we begin to view things differently, in a different way. And then we understand, oh, I see. This whole entire time I was growing. And this whole entire time I was being pushed towards whatever it is that I was supposed to be doing. And so all these things that did not line up for me were meant to be this way, because had I attached myself to this thing that I wanted back here, or that thing that I wanted over there, this thing over here that I wanted, that I thought that I wanted, well, now my energy is now attached to that thing, and you only get so much, darling. You wake up, you got 100% of your energy. You start thinking about this, well, there goes 10%. You start thinking about that or doing this or that, there goes another 45%. Well, you start doing this thing over here, there goes another whatever percent, and you've only got so much. So many people will live the same day over and over and over and over again. Every day is the same. They might be doing different tasks on that day, but they feel the same every day. They wake up and they do the same things over and over and over again. And they do this because the energy, the vibration, the energy that they're using, that they're spending on the same things, on the same frequency. And so they're not expecting, something miraculous and wonderful to happen in their life tomorrow, because that hasn't happened in the past, and so why would it happen tomorrow? So their expectations have been limited. They've been set on, this is how my life goes. And they're right, that is how their life goes, but it is because they have put limitations on their thinking, on their consciousness, and your consciousness is the be-all and everything. And so it has determined your life. Because your life is only lived in your consciousness. That is your life. You're living it right now. You're listening to me, and you're in your consciousness. You're in your home right now. Your home. And so your home can either be a really beautiful place or a really horrible place. And you have a choice, because it depends on what you're thinking in every single given moment. So what can happen is when we have caused suffering on ourselves by the way that we're thinking, and this suffering has now come back to harm us, we have a choice of growing or not. But if you're not growing, you're dying. And some people will stay in victim mode for such a very long time. Let me give you an example. Let's say that somebody gets married, they're young, and they end up having kids, and their spouse ends up being betraying them, and they end up leaving their marriage. Well, you could be bitter about that for years and years, right? Because my expectation was this, and then this was what happened. And you could be bitter about it forever. You can be a victim of it forever. But as long as you remain bitter and a victim of it, your life is not going to expand or evolve. Because you are holding on to those old frequency energies, and so therefore you're in a thought loop, meaning a vibration loop. And so what you are putting out, you're consistently getting back. So when you're saying, oh, I'm a victim because of what this person did to me, you are continuing to put out a victim frequency. And so it's not going to end there with that dude. It's going to come back in your life in multiple ways, as long as you believe this. As long as you believe that people are out to harm you, they will. So this is where the rule, the universal law of faith in good and evil comes into play. When you believe what an evil thing has happened, because this cabin has been infested with lice. What a horrible thing. What have you done in that moment? You have taken yourself and you've plummeted yourself, your home, where you live, behind your eyes, into hell. So you're sitting there, you're laying on your bunk, and you are thinking, what a horrible hellhole I live in. What a horrible hellhole I live in. And you're putting out that frequency, that vibration, that hellhole, thought, belief, that belief in the hell, you're putting it out constantly. Or you could be like that woman who listened and did what she was told and was thankful for everything. She thought, no, I don't know why, but I'm thankful. And just notice how that feels and what that does to your vibration and how it uplifts you, and how that woman is then not living in hell, she's living in heaven, because she's home in her consciousness, just like you're home in your consciousness right now, and that you have a choice between hell and heaven every single given moment of your day. Now, often we don't even realize how much hell we're feeding. When we wake up and we go, oh, I don't want to go do this today. Oh, I don't want to go do that today. You know how it has been forever since I have said that. Oh, I don't want to do this. Maybe evening I'm tired. Oh, I don't feel like, I can't even think of an example. But that used to be me. When I would wake up in the morning, years and years and years and years ago, wake up in the morning, oh, I don't want to get up yet. Oh, whatever. Now when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, yay, it's morning time. I get to wake up. I get to go record a podcast. I get to go do something. And I'm excited about my life. I have allowed myself to clear away the hell that was there in my mind, all those resentful, low, angry energies that were there, that were storehoused in my subconscious mind, cleared them out, and only allowed room for the heaven to come in. And so now if I recognize in myself, oh, I had a judgmental thought, which now is rare and few, and far between, I will catch myself and I will immediately correct it. And I think, oh, that's weird. There's some old programming still there. That's going to be immediately dismissed. Thank you for showing me that I still have more to master. And then I go on about my day, and I do not let it disturb me or drag me down or lower my vibration. In fact, I take it as a moment to be thankful for it, to master myself even more, and to uplift my energy even more, just through my awareness of, oh, ooh, there we go. Gotta lift it up even more. And what a gift this is to myself. Because now, it doesn't matter what is presented to me. I know, and I recognize, and I believe it really is for the best. So there's a difference. Lots of people say, well, everybody always says these things are working out for you. And it'll piss people off when you say that. Everything's always working out. And it does. It'll piss people off because they want you to hear them complain. And they want to stay in their low vibrational energy because they feel like they deserve it. No, I deserve to be in this low vibration energy because this thing happened to me. Well, that's fine. You do have free will, and so you can choose it, and you can choose to stay there as long as you want. And the only harm that's going to come back to you is all the harm that you're putting out through your own vibration. So as long as you continue to put out and push out, I'm a victim, well, those energies of victim go out, and then they return back to you, and you're like, look, I'm a victim again. And you don't realize it's been of your own doing, and that you can do the opposite, and you can be like, look at all the goodness that is flowing into my life. Why do I have 7 million different opportunities all coming at me at one time that are all perfectly wonderful and in alignment? Why? Because you were putting out those energies out there, and so those energy found you and came back and rippled themselves back into your life. You have a choice to choose the goodness every day, all the time, always, always, always. But because people need to know why. And we don't get the answer to the why right away. We don't. But because people need to know it, they will choose to not have the joy and choose to not believe in the goodness because they need the why. Well, no, when I figure out why that happened, well, then maybe I'll be thankful for it, and even then it probably won't be. Someone that has an attitude like that just needs some kind of divine illumination to come into their brain. And if they seek it, they will find it. But as long as we remain victims, and as long as we remain in our suffering, we're creating more ripples and more waves that are going to come back to us, that are going to cause us to be victims again, and that are going to cause us even more suffering. So if you were to think about the thing in your life that hurt the most, was the worst thing that you had to go through, maybe you're going through it now, I don't know. What did it teach you? What is it helping you master about yourself? What is it helping you change about yourself and the way that you operate? What is it teaching you? Is it teaching you that you need boundaries? Is it teaching you that you need to love yourself better and not allow things like that to happen again? Is it teaching you how strong and powerful you are? And now I'm telling you, if you went through something extreme, very detrimental, that broke your spirit, as much as it has broken your spirit, when you heal that thing and you rebuild it, you will be added to. So let's say, oh, well, before that thing happened, I was just fine. But on a scale of 1 to 10, in the spiritual realm, you were really only at a 1 out of 10. But you were like, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. Well, once you heal that thing and all of a sudden it shoots you up to a 7, then you're like, oh, I see. I see. In order to heal that thing, I had to take my power back. In order to heal that thing, I had to stop believing these negative things about myself. I see. Ooh, in order to heal that thing, I had to stop letting people use me and abuse me. Oh, I see what's happening. Oh, in order to stop that thing or to heal that thing, I needed to do this or I needed to do that. And it will bring to you the awareness that you need to have when you need to have it. But until you get to that point, just be thankful. Always, all the time, always, all the time. Because by doing that, you are sending out a thankfulness energy, and then you're going to get over that thing real fast. You'll let it occupy 0.2% of your day instead of 90% of your day. Because you're going to see that there's going to be great benefit. There's going to be amazing and great benefit. I know that the divine only does things for me that are to my benefit. And maybe if that horrible thing that has come back to you, you have done to somebody in the past, well, even that is a beautiful benefit, because it is showing you that the universal laws are the truth, and therefore you need to abide by them. If you harmed another in the past, and now that harm has returned back to you, you can see, oh, well, dude, from now on, I am not sending out anything like that to anybody ever again. Divine, please forgive me. And then you will have a moment of remorse that goes through you, because you will understand that your suffering has come from yourself, has come from the way that you've believed. So let's say that somebody else harms you, and you believe that person harms me all the time. That person is so bad. It is your belief that you are experiencing. It is not that person. That person is a reflection of the things that you believe. And so when you start believing different, you're going to start seeing different. Maybe you need to set boundaries up. Maybe, there's lots of things. There's lots of multifaceted intricacies around all these different things that pop up in our lives. But when we can be thankful for them right now and not have to wait to be thankful for something, it's going to change the frequency that you're putting out. And when that happens, it's going to change your life and the results of that. So this is what I have for you guys here today. Thank you guys for tuning in. You all are so precious and wonderful, and I love you so much. And if you have any questions or anything that you would like to know about the Christ letters, any teachings that maybe you're studying the Christ letters and you're like, I just don't understand this part, I would like some clarity on it, I would love to help you with that. If you do not have the Christ letters, it is Jesus's true message, what he was trying to teach to the people back then, and once you read it, you'll be like, oh yeah, I get this. Oh wow, this makes so much more sense. This is putting all the pieces together that I didn't even know I had questions about. You can listen to it for free here on YouTube. There's 9 letters, and then there's several articles that go along with it after. All amazing. You can read it for free online. I think you just look up thechristletters.com or .org or something along those lines. You can read it for free online, or you can buy it. Buy it on Amazon. Anyways, if you have any questions about it, I would love to help you, and you can just post your comments down below. I love you all so much, my darlings. Take care. Have the most wonderful day today, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.